Russian troops are conducting offensive operations in several directions, but Ukrainian defense forces are holding back the enemy and, in some areas, are successfully counterattacking. These conclusions were reached by experts from the American Institute for the Study of War in their recent Frontline report. In particular, according to their information, in recent days, Russian troops have continued limited offensive actions in the north of Sumy region. However, they were unable to advance as Ukrainian forces carried out counterattacks in this area. On the Kostiantynivka sector, our defenders are also holding their positions and have even achieved some successes to the northeast of the city itself. At the same time, experts emphasize that the situation in Kostiantynivka remains contentious, and control over the city continues to be disputed by both sides. Meanwhile, the analytical portal DeepState recorded advances by the occupiers in the Zaporizhzhia region over the past day, particularly in the Huliaipol direction. The Russian army also had certain successes in the Donetsk region, specifically near Zaporizhzhia, which is north of Myrnohrad. In addition, according to the Ukrainian General Staff, the most intense assault actions are currently being recorded in the Sloviansk, Kostiantynivka and Pokrovsk directions. Well, and overall, there were 211 combat engagements on the front line over the past day. A French artillery system is defending Ukrainian lands. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, soldiers of the 148th Artillery Brigade of the Air Assault Forces deliver verdicts to Russian equipment every day. With their guns, the Caesar Howitzer helps the troops reclaim territory from enemy manpower. The crew gives no respite to enemy pilots or assault troops. TSN correspondent Daria Nazarova witnessed the capabilities of the French self-propelled artillery unit.
A 155mm shell is quite a significant argument at the front. A strong argument, but it is used judiciously in battles against the occupiers.
A 155 caliber shell. After that, the desire to storm disappears. An assault group rushed out. They tried to storm the positions of our guys. There were about 10 men in the group. But one accurate shot ended their first assault.
The French-made self-propelled artillery unit is called a cannon killer. At the same time, the shells hit enemy personnel with sniper-like precision.
The system is good. I used to work with a mortar, so there's no comparison. Enemy personnel, shelters, cannons, those are our targets. Last time our target was a D-30 Howitzer.
Did you hit it?
Yes, we destroyed it.
The Caesar performed very well. It proved itself. Those are pilots? Or rather, that's our favorite target. We take out infantry, and everyone is happy when there are 200 of them.
High mobility, digital targeting. That's exactly what allows us to strike enemy targets and just as quickly leave the position.
And now you can input the coordinates. And...
Is it done itself?
Yes, it operates on its own. It has positioning set up.
The dynamics of the front have changed, the soldiers say. Earlier, the Russians used to assault more actively. They would send dozens of infantrymen into battle.
3 or 4 people run around at a time. If last year, when we were stationed with the previous brigade, there were assaults on bikes, on mopeds, here there's nothing like that. Now it's just 2 wounded guys running around.
In the Oleksandrivka direction, the occupiers are actually slowly retreating.
In the Oleksandrivka direction, assault and counter-assault actions continue under the grouping of airborne assault troops. For the 5th month now, the initiative has been with the Ukrainian Defense Forces and...
Caesar helps with this. Unlike many self-propelled artillery systems, it does not operate from a revetment, that is, from a fortification. It drives out to the firing position, and as soon as a target appears, it is engaged. The long-awaited moment, Caesar self-propelled artillery in action.
There is an FPV threat, so we need to lower the barrel and wait it out.
The target has been hit. The multi-ton Caesar heads to its shelter, which, after every outing, requires a mandatory cleaning.
At this point, the loader is carefully going to clean the breech.
Is it really necessary to do this after every use?
This is a weapon, it must be clean.
There might be another mission today, right?
It could happen at any time. We might have to go out every half hour.
Sometimes it happens that you just get in and out right away. It varies.
There will definitely be another mission. The artillerymen of the 148th Brigade strike the enemy both day and night. Caesar's work is especially spectacular in the dark.
Despite the significant development of unmanned systems, artillery was, is, and will remain the god of war. Neither electronic warfare nor the weather affects artillery.
Daria Nazarova, Andriy Kupovka, Zaporizhzhia, TSN 1+1. Is there a real risk of an amphibious operation today, like at the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion? Why are 3 lines of defense being built around the city? And what is happening on the Kinspol Spit? And does the threat from Transnistria remain? Our guest is Colonel Denys Nosikov, commander of the Odesa Operational Tactical Group.
Welcome, Mr. Denys.
I wish everyone good health.
The situation is very difficult, both in Odesa and in Odesa region. We can see this in the information space. The enemy is in fact striking Odesa and Odesa's infrastructure around the clock. And so the first question is, how are we responding to this challenge? Because literally just a few hours before this broadcast, there was another attack, more destruction, more people injured. How are we building the defense of Odesa region under these conditions? What are we using to defend ourselves? And how is our tactics changing? Such strikes
By the enemy regarding the enemy's use of means of air attack. Whether it's Shaheds or missiles, you name it, all components of defense are engaged in Odesa region. Everyone involved is working tirelessly every single day to find a permanent solution to this complex issue.
Air defense.
That's right.
At the same time, we are indeed building our defensive lines. We are constructing a circular defense of the city of Odesa with 3 defensive lines. There are outer, intermediate and inner lines, as well as a circular defense of our area of responsibility, which is a bit larger than Odesa region.
Mr. Denys, when you talk about building a circular defense of Odesa, is this similar to the case of a potential threat from Belarus? There in Volyn and Zhytomyr regions, a defense has been built. Are there any specific intelligence reports about a threat to this particular region in the near future? Or is this a constant threat that hasn't disappeared since 2022?
All our intelligence agencies are working, but we are building a circular defense. You could say we're doing it in advance, because unfortunately, usually when the enemy attacks, it's already too late to build all this. That's why we're working. We're preparing a circular defense. It's against everyone. It's a circular defense.
No, I feel a little scared when you talk about circular defense because I understand somewhere. The center of Ukraine is also within this circle. And from that side, there shouldn't really be any threat.
There are many scenarios. Anything can happen. But we must plan for and anticipate any scenario and not allow the enemy through under any circumstances. Because circular defense isn't just about anti-tank ditches. It's a large complex, a vast system of engineering explosive and non-explosive barriers. That's why I work with the future in mind, and the main task is this. The enemy also conducts all types of reconnaissance and makes plans as well. One of our main tasks is to make the enemy abandon any intention of advancing anywhere at all.
Are you currently paying special attention to Transnistria? There was a period during the first year of the full-scale invasion when heightened danger was expected from there.
Of course. We are also dealing with Transnistria, and all our intelligence departments are working on it as well, including signals intelligence and aerial reconnaissance. There are also a wide variety of additional measures being taken. Just to provide a very simple explanation, we have the situation entirely and absolutely under our control. For example, if any enemy soldier smoked and just threw a cigarette butt there, we see it. It's all very simple.
Speaking about the maritime direction, the sea, what makes it difficult to repel the attacks that are currently targeting Odesa? We're not talking there about a potential ground, land, or naval operation, but about the strikes that are being carried out right now. What makes it difficult to repel attacks from the sea? Because when you come to Odesa, you see just how short the time interval is from the announcement. From the moment the air raid alert is announced to the appearance of Shaheds over Odesa, it's their speed. Compared to how it happens in Kiev and around Kiev, here everything is much more compressed in time. In Odesa, everything is squeezed into literally just a few minutes. What makes it difficult to repel such attacks? What makes it difficult to detect targets over the sea?
In fact, the detection systems, among others, work quite well.
You're not saying that it works well. What is the difficulty, the peculiarity?
The main launch points are the temporarily occupied territory of Crimea, for us. And with Shaheds, we don't have that kind of situation. But with missiles, unfortunately, For technical reasons, there is a very short time window for these means to reach their target, the attack period. But the alerts work. There are only isolated cases when something somewhere doesn't make it in time. But I think this, unfortunately, concerns the entire territory of Ukraine and other cities as well.
And if you are talking about building a circular defense of Odesa, as you mentioned, from the water side, from the sea side, how easy or difficult is it for you now to find this balance in interacting with civilians? Let's say the Odesa coastline. People there have their own concerns. They want access to the sea, and on the other hand, they
Want the beach season, they want to relax.
And on the other hand, barriers are being built, and probably there is mining going on somewhere. First of all, how well are people informed about this? And secondly, how successful is it to find a balance and convey to those concerned the danger and the necessity of building such defenses from the sea as well?
We have a wide variety of beautiful, open public beaches where comprehensive safety measures, real-time weather alerts, sturdy emergency shelters, and all necessary precautions are fully in place for your protection. And in those specific areas where there are absolutely no such facilities available, that's right, plenty, more than enough. People are relaxing, all safety measures are working. But of course there are some areas, let's call them that, potential amphibious landing sites and other areas where unfortunately there are restrictions. I think we have a fairly mature society. Everyone understands what is happening. The safety of people, cities, and so on, that's the top priority. So, of course, there are issues of discomfort, but everyone understands everything.
Judging by the number of Russian military ships that have been hit, it feels like Russia really has no resources left, no forces or means for any kind of amphibious landing operation. Is this really the case, or are we under some kind of illusion that we've truly driven Russia completely out of the Black Sea? If you are preparing potential landing sites there, that means there are still certain resources. The enemy has preserved some of these.
Military ones. Regardless of the circumstances, we always strive to work proactively and carefully anticipate any potential scenario. We plan for the worst-case scenario, let's put it that way. That's our job. But regarding what you're asking, again, all types of intelligence are at work. Even if you just stop an ordinary person in Odesa, for example, and ask them if they believe that something like this is possible at the moment, maybe. I think everyone will answer that, of course, it's impossible.
Since you mentioned the locals, to what extent are local residents involved in preparing Odesa, in building fortifications and possibly participating in repelling an enemy attack? How are we developing those same territorial defense units, which were originally tasked with defending their own territory, their cities and regions against enemy aggression?
We are constantly increasing our capabilities, but in our territorial defense forces, we are a bit different from other branches and their troops. We have additional opportunities, so to speak. One of our functions is we have the right to create voluntary territorial defense formations, which are commonly known as DFTG. We involve the population in national resistance as much as possible. We also have this function. That is to say, these various segments of the population, students, pensioners, veterans, and our own people, there are actually a lot of different people whom we involve and prepare for, and we support them in every way possible. We prepare the population for national resistance, using our resources with our military personnel, with our instructors at our training grounds, and this includes rifle units as well, and also ATGM units and Pee-wee interceptor crews. That is, according to the combat order, they have the right to carry out all these tasks.
Denys, could you remind us what is the status of people who join the FTG? Are they considered mobilized? Or are they basically volunteers who can come at any moment and leave at any moment?
Yes.
More or less like that? Yes.
Yeah.
And they are volunteers in every sense? They don't get paid for their work? Like the military if they join?
The territorial community has the right to provide and pay certain types of monetary rewards. They have the right to do this because this is voluntary. The formation of territorial communities So the point is precisely that these volunteers from the civilian population are involved in defense and carrying out various combat tasks, and according to the tasks of law enforcement functions, for example, maintaining public order at checkpoints and so on, depending on the number of these people, depending on these territories. But for the most part, we involve them in carrying out combat missions. We try to involve precisely those segments of the population, those categories who are not subject to mobilization. That's a lot of
people. These could be people who are exempt or those with many children who want
to get involved. We do not grant exemptions. Many students
may be exempted at their workplaces but want to use their free time from work to participate whenever possible.
We must provide support for our veterans who are returning home from the war, because their unique personal experience can also be valuable and effectively utilized during training. And there, during some technical consultations,
based on veterans, we are creating our Territorial Defense Unit. Because there are certain aspects, for example, responsibility, storage, and use of weapons. They receive weapons from us. That is, firearms, automatically, for example, assault rifles. And at the very least, one must understand the responsibility that comes with these things. And basic questions like rooms for storing weapons, rooms for storing ammunition, and so on. That's why we are building this based on various commanders and veterans. But as I said, we also involve students and pensioners and those who are exempt from mobilization, and the authorities as well. They also cooperate with us. They are with us in the Territorial Defense Forces, in our Regional Territorial Defense Administration for the South. We have our own UAV school. We train everyone, both the volunteer territorial defense units and other military branches, as well as our own people, and we prepare everyone. We issue pilot certificates, and our local authorities, including those from Odesa region, are also involved. Not often, but they do carry out tasks. Or not.
Are they now able to carry out any combat missions, since fortunately there are no street battles in Odesa? So now the territorial defense fighters you mentioned, and to whom they are involved in combat missions?
Not right now, and their involvement is just that.
Is it countering drones?
With means of air defense, yes. Mainly they are on duty day and night, working, shooting down those same Shaheds, mobile fire teams, and so on. And the territorial defense units, we are training them to be versatile. For example, anti-tank guided weapons, for instance, they can hit armored vehicles or tanks in the same way they can hit a watercraft. A watercraft, for example, a ship, or the same drone interceptor, which it can hit a Shahed drone, so what's stopping it from hitting, for example, a watercraft? Everything that works against aerial targets also works on land targets. That's where the versatility lies. And in case of the question you started with, about counter-landing measures like naval landing and so on, in terms of probability, that is, in such a case, they will also be involved. They know how to do this and are capable of it. That's a lot of crews.